The problem with the Easter Day bombings in the Sri Lanka is that they have come at a time when the Sri Lankan economy is tottering and has become an abysmally low. The Sri Lankan economy has suffered a second major blow in the 5 months. Since the abortive constitutional coup of October 2018, which had left the country paralyzed for several weeks. The FDI in any country is driven by the sentiments of the investors. But if there is a political instability, then the investor sentiments they swing in the opposite direction. Same thing happened during the October 2018 constitutional coup, and it resulted in loss of the billions of dollars of revenue. Investors' confidence was also lost. And now the ISIS attack, which is deliberately designed in such a way to polarize the already fragile unity of Sri Lanka. It has shook the tourist confidence, and the Sri Lankans they have seen one of the largest cancellation of tourism tickets. Sri Lanka is also an economy which is completely driven by the tourism traffic. Sri Lanka, therefore, is in for a long haul towards economic recovery. It would require huge international assistance in this direction, and the country is already reeling under a massive financial crisis spawned by the debt to equity swap of Hambantota, which was thrusted upon Sri Lanka by China. Chinese are already commanding 70% of the shares in the Hambantota. The revival of Hambantota, as per the World Bank, is very necessary. The revival of Hambantota is very necessary for bringing back the Sri Lankan economy on its foot. But the Sri Lankans, they don't have any money for rejuvenating their economy or building a special economic zone whose products can be exported from the Hambantota. So Hambantota may become a white elephant bleeding the finance and the economy of Sri Lanka. So Sri Lankans have got no other option but to invite China further and give them more land for developing the special economic zone, so that Sri Lanka, apart from the tea, they start making some finished product that they can export to the world and earn some foreign exchange for them. But the problem is that even that foreign exchange may not suffice because of the huge debt that the Sri Lankans are required to pay. They have taken an $8 billion loan from China at an interest rate of 6.2%. Another very big question that is standing in front of the Sri Lanka is the settling of the Tamilian dispute.
This programme has persistently reported allegations that Sri Lankan government forces committed serious human rights abuses at the end of the civil war in 2009. Now, we've spoken to a number of Tamils who claim that abuse is still rife. And I should just warn you, this report from our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Jonathan Miller, does contain images some people may find distressing, and there is also some flash photography.
This man heads a regime accused of war crimes and some of the worst human rights abuses of recent decades. President Mahinda Rajapaksa's government dismisses all that as preposterous. He's been on a charm offensive to repair his nation's tarnished reputation, and it's been working. The long war between government forces and Tamil Tiger separatists may have ended 2.5 years ago, but tonight Channel 4 News reveals that behind the smiles there still lies a vengeful, sadistic regime. This Tamil man claims he was tortured by the Sri Lankan security forces in June this year.
They used to beat me with a steel cable. It would peel away my skin. The pain would be simply unbearable. They would hang me upside down and dunk my head into water. They covered my head with a polythene bag soaked in petrol and tied it tightly around my neck. When I tried to breathe in, it felt like I was breathing in fire.
After a decade of war, the Tamilians, they have not got their due share, neither the 13th Amendment, giving them the rights of the land and the security, has been implemented in the Tamil-dominated areas. They are still being treated as a second-hand citizens, and they are still not the owners of their own land. And the Sinhalas have started dominating the Tamilian residential areas. How will they settle there? What will they do? Because the United States of America under Trump is not paying enough attention. But there is a strong Tamilian lobby in USA, and this Tamilian lobby, they will finance the election of the next president by giving huge checks to that particular president. And when the president will take over, and if he happens to be of Obama's party, the first thing that the president may do is to bring Sri Lanka in the United Nations Council of Human Rights. And the country may get persecuted there for the persecution of the Tamilians. Country may get prosecuted there for the persecution of the Tamilians. So all around challenges in front of Sri Lanka. And Mahinda Rajapaksa is counting upon divisionary politics and creating polarization because that suits his style of politics. So an anti-Muslim rhetoric, anti-Tamilian rhetoric is what he is counting upon, and he wants to come back as a president. Last time when he came back as a president, he concentrated too many powers in his hands, and he became almost an authoritarian dictator. How will the present government deal with such challenges is a big question. And it is required that some very effective steps are required from Sri Lanka's side. This all thing we are going to analyze as a part of this particular lecture.
Suggesting perpetrators aren't even worried about getting caught. The evidence, it concludes, is sufficiently serious to merit urgent investigation.
People have had a very...
The British government has forcibly removed an unknown number of failed Tamil asylum seekers to Sri Lanka. The UK has signed the UN Convention Against Torture, which states that no one should be deported if there are substantial grounds to believe they'd be tortured. The government bases its assessment of that risk on the UK Border Agency's Country of Origin Information reports. The latest COI report on Sri Lanka is dated July this year. Under the section on torture, it quotes international human rights groups, other governments and the UN as